Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to the video. This is now part 2 for the build, and I realized as I was doing the work for this, I left way too much material for the second video. I should have got a lot further in video 1, and specifically I should have finished off these inserts for the box filter. It would have made a much nicer transition between the two videos, and also it wouldn't have bogged me down with a lot of extra work that I had to do so I can get this finished for you guys and not drag this out for yet another video. One good thing came from dividing the videos as I had, though. I caught a small error. If I had pushed on with video 1, I might have been too tired to catch it. But this is a new day, and I noticed that these are slightly different in width. Normally when I cut panels that are going to weld together, especially the inside ones like these, I cut them all at the same time. That way they are identical, and I don't have to worry about any gaps. But because I cut the 1/8 and the 1/4 inch at different times, there is a slight difference in their dimensions, and it would have resulted in a bit of a gap. Probably not a big deal because it's going to be filled with gravel and everything, but I caught it, and it'll make it a lot stronger now with the weld. And all I had to do was stick the thinnest piece in the saw and set up the saw stop, and then of course trim them all at the same time. So now they're all the same dimensions, and this is just a simple matter now of welding them all together. So while that's going on, I'd like to talk a little bit about the design process for making this filter. In the first video, I mentioned I wanted to make a really large filter. I wanted to have a lot of filtering capacity. And I definitely got that. That's not a problem at all. The other thing I mentioned in the first video is there's technically no real upper limit to how large you can make this sort of thing. I think I want to revise that a little bit because there are some logistical difficulties in putting something that would be even bigger than this together. I have found it a couple of times that the tolerances for this one were quite exact to make sure that all these bits and pieces fit together, can be taken apart, of course, cleaned with ease, because if it gets to the point where it is difficult to take something apart, it just becomes a chore to clean, and I didn't want that. And also, because of the tray that's going to fit on the top of this, which we'll get to in a few minutes, if it were bigger than this, I think we're going to get into some weight issues as well. I'm not going to really know for sure until this all gets put together, and I've had it sit for a little while, and then of course take it apart to see if I can clean it and all those sorts of steps that I haven't done yet. And that's something I always reserve when I make filters. They go together well in the beginning, but how are they going to be to maintain? That's a key thing for me. So we'll see how that all goes in time as well. This is definitely going to be large enough to filter that aquarium, the 7-footer, all by itself, I'm pretty sure. It is going to have its little brother next to it, and I'm going to run the two of them on the tank. But the thing is, I think this is definitely going to be more than enough filtration for that tank, and we'll see how it goes. Now, I wanted to, for this video, run through the calculation of how much filtering capacity this actually has. I wanted to compare it to the one I've already put together. I didn't get to that. I will do so for Sunday. I'll let you guys know how much larger in volume this is. But at the end of it, just have a look at it compared to the other one. It is quite large. And again, that's another reason why I don't think it would be a good idea to make one much bigger than this. First off, I don't think it's really necessary. And secondly, I think handling it and changing, cleaning the filter basically, and doing maintenance, we'll get to the point where it'll be rather difficult to undertake. So the video is finally caught up. We are now at the point where I probably should have started this video, and this is the bottom section for the high humidity planter tray. This is going to be the cap that's going to sit on top of the box filter. Imagine this the other way around, of course, and I'm going to drill 2 holes in this, and it is going to sit over the lift stacks. Now, in the first version of this, I had simply drilled the hole, and that became the method of holding the upper tray in place. And I decided not to go that way. I wanted this to be a little bit more rigid. So this is going to have an insert that's going to sit down inside the box filter, and it's going to hold it in place, and then the lift stacks are just going to be simply there as a added precaution. And this will be a lot more secure because this is going to weigh a lot more than the other one. So what I've done here is I've marked out the holes rudimentarily to begin with, and now what I'm going to do is take some more exacting measurements, make sure everything fits properly, and I'm going to put a little center dot in those, and then I'm going to drill out these 2 holes. And again, I'll hold this in much more rigidly than I would with just 1/4 inch, because it's now going through 1/2 inch of acrylic. And this is one of the things that had to be rather precise compared to the other ones, because if these are off by a little bit, they have to line up not just with the 2 lift stacks, but those 4 sides have to line up with the inside of the actual box filter itself. And of course it has to be able to slide in and out without any friction, because as this gets dirtier and there's grit and mulm and all sorts of stuff in this, it will become much more difficult to do so. So I wanted this to fit on top of that and hold it in place without any sort of friction. So I wanted this, like I said, just to be as smooth as possible. So I had to take a lot of extra time making sure that everything was lined up the way it's supposed to be, and it turned out pretty good. I think it was probably off in the end by about 1/16 of an inch, which doesn't sound like a whole lot because I am allowing a fair amount of tolerances here, but I think if it was off by any more than that, I don't think it would have fit properly. I mean, things would have been slightly askew. I want everything to fit nice and square in the bottom. So this is now the hardest part, I think, of this build done. This is the bottom for the tray, and it's sitting where it belongs, and now it's locked in place. This is not really ever going to go anywhere. I'm very happy about that. And if you mentioned, I remember I mentioned a little earlier that I had managed to catch a mistake because I was, fresh in the morning. Well, this is now late at night again, and I ended up doing more work on this than I needed to. You'll notice in the box filter there, the bottom tray, there are 2 sleeves. Those are completely unnecessary because I am welding the 2 lift stacks right onto those friction fit holes, and they're not going to do anything. They're just sitting there. Not a big deal, of course, because it's not going to inhibit with the filter's workings or anything, and I suppose it will give me a slightly extra grip on taking these in and out, but definitely something I did not need to do. So if you're wondering why there's those little pieces of acrylic underneath, this when I lean on this, I like to put a little bit of pressure to make sure the weld holds, and because the centerpiece is raising the edges up, I can't lean on it without putting a little bit of a support under there. That's all they were in there for. And they're also going to get cut up because I need to put in supports for the top cap, which means also, I should mention at this point, there is a number of things that I am going to be not recording here. I didn't record the drilling of these holes. I'm not going to bother recording the top cap, how it gets drilled. It's exactly the same as the other one. It's just going to be a box. It's going to be turned upside down. It's going to have 2 holes that are going to center on these 2 holes. They're going to be 3/8 inch just to give a little extra wiggle room in there. And then that's pretty much the build. I am, unfortunately, as you can see, this video is getting long. I'm not going to set this up today, but I think that actually is a better way of doing this, because I do want to incorporate the renovations for the 7-foot tank with the installation of this filter. So that's going to be a good chunk of Sunday's fish room vlog. There's a lot to do for this, and I want to install it and get all that done. There's going to be other stuff as well, but I think this is going to make a nice showpiece for Sunday. So it'll be up and running for Sunday, and I think I like the look of this. It's going to be interesting to see how it runs and how it flows. I don't know yet because I haven't set it up yet, but this thing is big. My biggest box filter, and definitely the biggest planter filter combo so far. And like I said, because of the logistic issues, I should say, in putting something even bigger than this together, this is definitely going to be it for a while. I don't think I'm even going to have the need for a bigger one. Anyway, definitely leave comments below. Let me know what you think of this monster, and I really also, of course, look forward to any other suggestions you have, and thank you ever so much for watching what I do here. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.